That was the scene last week at LSU, State University of Louisiana there in Baton Rouge. And flag burning ceremony was supposed to be held there, but the students on campus, they shut it down. In his most recent article in the Washington Times, Tim Constantine writes that freedom of speech must be protected even when it is offensive. And Tim joins us now as we continue to take a look at the issue of free speech in our country. Tim, great to see you.
Great to see you. Thanks.
All right, and this story, we talked about this a little bit, the issue down on the LSU campus there where there was supposed to be a flag burning protest, but the students basically shut it down, and that's all well and good. But there seems to be a lack of understanding by these college kids about what the First Amendment really means, right?
Well, what fascinates me is a lack of understanding by people well beyond students. There's a state senator down in one of the southern states, Alabama, who has taken all the Confederate flags out of an old Confederate graveyard because he finds those offensive. And the whole thing with freedom of speech is sometimes it's offensive, but you are still free to express yourself.
Well, we've seen, in reference to the Confederate flag, this has been a hot button issue in a lot of other states. It was on the Georgia state flag for a while, even though they still have a kind of a version of the Confederate flag for the state flag. And also at the State House in South Carolina, it used to fly on the grounds there and then had to be moved off. Do you think the Confederate flag issue is something a little bit different, maybe?
Well, I do if it's part of the state flag. I would say that's different because you're representing everyone, you're representing the state. But in a graveyard, if you go to Arlington, there are all the United States flags on all the graves. If you go to a Confederate graveyard, you are going to find Confederate flags there. And so the problem here wasn't as part of the state flag. The problem was they were on display as part of the Confederate. It's an unfortunate part of history. It is a dark part of American history, but you can't pretend it didn't happen.
This is true. We know it happened. I want to talk also about Kathleen Parker in her column in the Washington Post, going back to the issue of college kids, referring to them as the, quote, swaddled generation. Now, it seems that most conservatives, I'm quoting her here, are concerned with the increasing draconian suppression of free speech on college campuses, but then it's mostly conservative writers and speakers who are treated as though they are bringing the Ebola virus rather than contrarian ideas to the sensitive ears of what we call the swaddled generation. You heard about these trigger warnings? She's writing about this. It's usually conveyed in a sign carried or posted on campus near the auditorium where a speech is to be given, alerting students to the possibility that a speaker may actually express an idea that could trigger an emotional response. What is going on, Tim, on these college campuses? It doesn't seem like we are preparing students for rigorous debate in the real world.
No, if you've got a 19-year-old kid that doesn't understand the Constitution, so be it. But the fact that faculty and the local campus police and everyone else are going along with this is embarrassing. It's disgraceful. Freedom of speech means you are free to express yourself. I might find what you say offensive, John. You might find what I say offensive, but we're free to say it unless it endangers someone.
Yeah, and this is obviously an idea that has been enshrined in the First Amendment, but it's a human idea. I think it was Voltaire who said, right, I don't agree with what you have to say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it, something like that.
We have a very sensitive group of youngsters growing up now, apparently.
Yes, a very sensitive group indeed. Tim, please do stick around. We got much more to come. We're going to talk about some congressional priorities and if these guys are going to be able to get everything done that they need to before they take a little vacation coming up here at the end of the week. We'll have Tim Constantine coming back to us. 3 big things on Congress's plate right now. We got this trade deal going on. Also going to talk about presidential war authorities. They haven't done that yet either, and some other issues that are facing down Congress. We're going to have Tim Constantine coming back to us to talk to us about that. Also, David Goodfriend will be with us as well to discuss those issues. More coming up here on Newsmax Now. We'll be right back after this break.